Hey y'all, hi. So I have posted a lot of YouTube content over the years about the nitty-gritty of making positive change in one's life. I documented my no-buy year back in 2018. I've made videos about budgeting, about experimenting with a minimalist closet. I frequently return to looking at my topics of interest, beauty, aesthetics, self-care, through the lens of these larger questions about making change. But I am here to tell you that the current situation is, the current status with this stuff is that I've really struggled in 2024 to make impactful change in my life. A lot of really big life events came along this year and have just eaten up all of my energy and time. I've sort of been flailing, or until recently I was sort of flailing, and I've been thinking a lot about how to start 2025 strong with better habits in place. I've come up with a short list of 4 tools that I know work, that I plan to use to implement successful change in my life in 2025. If you like it, I hope you will subscribe. If you like a beautiful small book from time to time, I hope that you will check out my beautiful small book. I'll link at the top of the description box below. And now let's get into the meat of the video. So making change, real change, especially coming from a place of having nothing. Like, I have got nothing. I have nothing over here, drained down to the last drop. My thinking about this topic and really this whole idea, like this whole video idea, was entirely fueled by my experience with today's video sponsor, which is unusual for me because usually when I accept a sponsorship, I have my own idea for my own video, and then I just attach the sponsored portion to that video. But my experience with trainwell has been extraordinary, a textbook case of forming and maintaining a habit with which I had previously struggled mightily. And it's really reclarified my thinking about successful habit building, and it's made me want to unpack the experience and apply the theories to other habits too, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing in this video. So I'm going to talk about trainwell, how and why it has worked so well for me, and then we're going to take that information, break it down, and see how we can apply it to other desired life changes in the new year. Trainwell is a remote personal training service. It's a personal trainer in an app. I've been using it for 2 months now, and it has done the impossible, or what I previously thought was impossible. Let me show you. Do you see this? 52 days, a 52-day streak of successful use of the app, right? I have been working out consistently for 52 straight days. And I was starting from 0. In the year since I'd given birth, the most I had done was maybe like gone on a walk a couple of times. I felt terrible, and I knew that it was because I wasn't moving my body, but I had no time. I was so far behind on life and so far down the hole that I didn't have the time or energy to sit down and start making a plan. So I was really at the bottom of the ditch with not being able to help myself, even though I theoretically knew what I needed to do. And trainwell was able to lift me out of that because it's professional help. It's help with doing the thing. It's like not having to do it all on your own. All of the stuff that felt too overwhelming, the planning, the logistics, the strategizing, my trainer, Chris, did all of that for me. She does that for me. That's her job, and she is a professional. So when you start with trainwell, a quiz pairs you with your perfect trainer. And during our onboarding call, I was really frank with my trainer, Chris. I was like, listen, I'm starting from nothing. I'm totally exhausted. I only have about 15 minutes a day. If it's too hard, I won't do it. So I need the difficulty to increase incrementally, really slowly. I need it to sneak up on me. And if it's boring, I won't do it. So I need it to be different every day. And she was like, I got you. She made me feel so okay about those being my requirements. And she was really positive and supportive and made me feel like even just 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week, which was her suggestion. I thought it was going to be every day. She was like, let's just do Monday through Friday. She made me feel like just that would have a big impact. And that made me realize that I had this mentality, like, why bother if it's not going to be a big workout revolution and like change everything in a huge way really quickly. Like if I'm not going to do hot yoga for 90 minutes a day and become a superwoman, then why even do anything? But Chris is a professional, and she really held my hand and led me out of that mindset and into a space where the short, easy workouts, which is really all I felt capable of, looked like something worthwhile and felt like something that I could be proud of managing to do every day. My favorite thing about the app is that there's some wiggle room. So by By being consistent, I earn the ability to skip a day here and there if I need to without the streak breaking. Psychologically, that's everything for me. And it's happened a couple of times when I didn't mean for it to happen because of scheduling issues. And then there was one time when I played that card because I just felt so terrible and I just absolutely couldn't. That little bit of built-in grace is what has made it all possible for me. And here I am, 52 days later with an unbroken streak, feeling way better, and I am actually stronger, which surprised me. It surprises me because what I'm doing feels so doable every day. I'm getting stronger without forcing myself to do something that feels incredibly hard. And I think I didn't really realize that that was possible. Because I was carrying this all or nothing mentality before, it's like hard for me to believe that my muscles have changed in just 15 or 20 minutes a day, but they totally have. Chris designed that really slow incremental increase that I asked for, and it's working both for my body and my mind. So I've learned a ton from this experience about myself and about habit forming for me in this phase of life. I'm excited to unpack that. If exercise is one of the habits that you're hoping to prioritize in 2025, I do encourage you to try Trainwell. Take the quiz to find your perfect trainer, and you can get 14 days free if you go through my link, which will be in the description box down below, or the QR code on the screen. So in my experience, one of the great things about establishing a new habit is that it gives you a sense of efficacy that starts to kind of spill over into other things in your life. So because I managed to find a way to do it with this one thing just in the past month or two, I suddenly feel really enthusiastic about taking the bull by the horns in a lot of other ways in the new year. For 2025, I have a couple of potential targets. One is screen time. I am so much healthier when I keep my screen time to the daytime and I don't let it bleed into the evening hours. And I've really fallen off the wagon with that. I've been like on my computer until midnight a couple of nights this week. I'm horrified. I just said that out loud and I'm horrified that it's true. And another one is decluttering. I feel like it's time. We've been in this house for 6 months. It's time to start fully removing things that we don't need. Pieces of furniture that don't have a place, clothes that I've been meaning to donate. It's just been so hard to execute on the act of getting stuff out of the house. So there's one thing I want to do less of in the new year, which is screen time. And there's another thing that I want to do more of in the new year, which is decluttering. Let's see how we can apply the lessons of my recent exercise journey to these other habits. I've identified 4 key elements of my recent experience that have led me to this streak of unbroken exercise. The first key is a realistic plan. So as I discussed, my workouts have not been ambitious. They've been like the opposite of ambitious. I was like, I need it to be easy. That is literally what I said. I feel like a major key is replacing why bother if it's not hard with why bother if it's not doable. Or don't march into it if it's not doable. Don't get yourself worked up about it if you don't have a realistic plan. Realistic for you. Bite off something you can chew, I guess. So how can this apply to doing less of something? With screen time, I could see myself biting off more than I could chew with trying to self-bind, like do less, by saying something like, I'm going to shut my computer at dinner time and I'm not going to open it again until the next morning. Like giving myself this really constrained window, going from free-for-all to something super aspirational and therefore unrealistic. I'm tempted to be like, I'm going to close my computer at 8 p.m. and not open it till the next day, but guided by this principle, maybe what I'll do is start with 10 p.m., which feels really late to me right now, but it's still a dramatic shift from what I have been doing, right? So give myself something that doesn't feel like a big smack in the face with just taking away what I'm used to completely all at once. It's interesting. That is what I did with my no by year. And I think that it's partly a phase of life thing right now. It's just like really having so little energy and being spread so thin. I need my attempts at change to be more realistic. I need to bite off littler bites right now. I need the workouts to be easy. With decluttering, it makes a lot of sense, right? To just make a realistic plan. So the aspirational change maker in me wants to do a massive vicious sweep and take piles and piles of things to the Goodwill in one fell swoop. With the guidance of this principle, I might have a decluttering box, like a giveaway box, and just put one thing in the box every day. That's so doable. Take a minute, like after breakfast every day, and put one thing in the box. That's biting off an amount I can chew. That actually feels really appealing right now. So the second key is accountability. This has been absolutely critical to my success with exercise. The magic of having a real person on the other side who's on my team, who's informed about my plan, and who will know if I don't follow through. Someone who wants me to succeed, someone who's fully in on it and also paying attention. And in this case, also my husband, right? Because I had to make a plan with him. I had to say, I'm going to take these 15 minutes every single day to do my trainwell workout. So he would also know if I skipped. You know what I mean? So I've had like double accountability with this pursuit. And I think that has really helped. Accountability is so powerful. And it's one that I tend to think that I can do without, right? I feel like, oh, I'm my best accountability buddy. I'll hold myself to a high standard. And again, I feel like that might have been truer in the past when I was young and energetic. But now I need more support. Like I need crutches to make change in this extremely busy, exhausting, overwhelmed period of my life. So how could I apply that to the screen time thing? It's like I need to enlist Joe. I need to be like, Joe, I'm going to close my computer at 10 p.m. every night, come hell or high water. And I'm requesting that you help me by being my accountability buddy for it, checking in with me every day to see if I'm doing it. Or maybe we could have a chart on the wall. I'm not sure this is how we'll do it. Even just saying to him, this is my plan. Would you be willing to actively notice whether or not I break my vow to myself every day? Or is it okay with you? I could go to him and say, is it okay with you if I tell you every day, hey, I did it. It's 10 p.m. My computer's closed and I'm not going to open it again. And the same thing with decluttering. Yeah, just be like, hey, is it okay with you if I make you part of this project and just every day show you my one thing? Or I guess we could post a calendar because he might not remember. He might not remember to check if I did or didn't do it. But we could post a little calendar on the declutter box. And then every time I put something in, like on Tuesday when I put something in, I put an X on the calendar. And then he would have a visual way of seeing if I had or hadn't done it. And there would be accountability there. It's hard. It's a little bit hard for me to come up with an accountability system because it hasn't been my way in the past. And I think it's absolutely critical right now for me. And again, has been the key to my success with Trainwell. I potentially have, if he would agree to it, a built-in accountability buddy. You know, there's someone that is here in my house that I'm living with. But how do you find an accountability buddy if you live alone, for example? Or if Joe didn't want to do it, I would have to ask a friend to check in every day via text. I could join like a forum. It seems like there's a Reddit group for everything. You know what I mean? Maybe find some virtual accountability buddies. The internet is actually a great resource for this kind of thing. The third key is flexibility. So I discussed wiggle room being my favorite thing about the Trainwell app. It's like you can fail a little bit without the entire project coming tumbling down. Built-in modulation. It gives a sense of continued enduring accomplishment, even if there's a day when you just can't. You can do better and then do worse, do better and then do worse without totally failing. That has just been really important to me these past 2 months. And again, it hasn't always been my way with projects of life change. I've been a real cold turkey type person for most of my life. And I do think that was right for me, especially with the no by year. It was the only way. I couldn't have given myself an inch that year, or I would not have accomplished my aims of totally resetting my behavior. I think there's some cases in which cold turkey is the only way. And that for me was definitely one of them. But when it comes to establishing a new habit in 2025, for me right now, reducing my screen time, I think that the 5 days a week thing that I also learned from my trainer, I had this go hard expectation where I was like every single day, you know, blah, blah, blah. But doing it this way where it's 5 days a week and then I get the weekends off, it has been so much more doable for me. It's really contributed to the sense that it's possible for me to just keep going week after week after week. And I think that it would make sense to do the same thing with screen time for me. Have the stricter rule be just a Monday through Friday rule, like maybe closing the computer at 9 p.m., telling Joe, checking off the checklist for the day, Monday through Friday, and then, or yeah, Sunday through Thursday, I guess, and then Saturday and Friday evenings, if I even want to, I could go a little later. Suddenly it's like, oh yeah, I could totally do that. And the same thing potentially with decluttering. If the project is putting one thing in the box every day of the week. Actually, with decluttering, I could see myself saying that means it's 7 days a week, but the rule is it has to be 6 items a week, but you aim for 7. Or I could do something like minimum 5, but we aim for 7. Like having there be an ideal number that you get per week, but you don't fail if you only get 2 less than that, you know? A little bit of room to have like a really great week one week and then not as great a week the next week, but still have succeeded. And the fourth key, and sort of the most profound one for me at this stage of my life, I think, with this type of thing, the fourth key is patience. In the past, I made really big swings for fast, hard change. I wasn't happy if it wasn't smacking me upside the head. In this phase of life, I'm looking for the trajectory of change to look like this, up and down over the course of several months with a slow trend upwards. That is better for me right now than a huge ambitious burst of new self-energy that kind of leaves me reeling at the beginning and that I then wouldn't be able to maintain. So with screen time and decluttering in the new year, allowing it to just be a little bit every day, a little bit less screen time every day, maybe 10 p.m. is the cutoff for the first month. And then once I feel like I'm faithful to that, moving it to 9 p.m. Even though that feels so wimpy, there's still a part of me that's like, it's gotta be harsh. It's gotta be a lot. It's gotta be dramatic, you know? So that just feels so pathetic. Like it feels pathetic to have to cut off at 10 p.m., which is when I would hope to be in bed for a whole month before being able to move the needle to 9 p.m. in like February. It just feels so slow, but patience is key. And decluttering, oh my gosh, yes, the desire is like fill the box instantly and every single day to be like, I can do way more than one thing today. But I feel like that's how I get burned out. That's how I come up against the feeling like, oh, I can't even start because I feel like I can't even start it because the it that I've given myself is a huge task. Where if it's just one little thing every day and I have patience and let it build over time, it adds up. It adds up more quickly than I think it's going to. Time is so powerful. Time and consistency together are so powerful. It's like those muscles just build, like I could feel my muscle now. I can't believe it. I could cry. Those muscles just building a little bit every day and then being able to feel a difference 50 days later, even though there wasn't a single day or I was just like exhausting myself and smearing myself on the altar of massive life change. So a realistic plan, accountability, flexibility, and patience. If you're up for it, let us know in the comments what it is you are hoping to change in the new year and how each of those 4 elements might look. If you feel like leaving like a novel of a comment, you know, you can just tell us what you're hoping to change in the new year. But I do think it is a good thought exercise. It really helps to write it out, to think it through for whatever it is you are hoping to change. What does a realistic plan look like? What does accountability look like? What does flexibility look like? And what is patience going to entail? Let us know. I feel so much more capable now of putting together a screen time plan and a decluttering plan for next year that will work. Like I feel that sense of hope. Like I could make these New Year's resolutions and have them actually go somewhere rather than that kind of pie in the sky pipe dream feeling where you're like, I'm going to be like a new person in the new year, blah, blah, blah. But underneath secretly, you kind of know that it's just for January. You know what I mean? I feel the first way and not the second way about it, having talked through all of this stuff. So again, thanks to Trainwell for all of the inspiration and for reaching out. I'm so grateful that I've gotten to have this experience. Don't forget that you can take the quiz to find your perfect trainer and get 14 days of free training if you go through the link in my description box or through the QR code on the screen. Thank you so much for being here, for watching. The new year is just around the corner and we're gonna do great. I appreciate you all so much. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.